So I thought that the longer I use these headphones, the more I would be able to give an accurate review, but now I just feel like I'm more confused about them than I was when I first started. Now, these are the Black Shark V2 Pro wireless gaming headphones from Razer. So in my typical gaming headphone reviews, I like to go ahead and get started with the sound quality and the comfort in these headphones because those are the main two things that matter. So let's go ahead and start it off talking about sound quality. So overall, these headphones sound absolutely amazing. They've got great bass response, some clear highs, and some really good positional audio, which is really important to a person like me because I play a lot of competitive FPS games like Call of Duty, Warzone, and Apex Legends. Just pretty much anything that's a first-person shooter and competitive, I pretty much play it. So positional audio is a definite must. Now, earlier I know I said I was a little bit confused after having used them, and that's mainly due to the fact that the differences in the sound between each game that I played was so drastic. Like, I understand that each game has different sound design, and some of these games have been praised for having great sound design, and some of them have been known to have terrible sound design. But this headset makes it way more tricky than it has to be. Now, normally in the past headphones I've used, I pretty much set whatever profile I want for playing games, and I don't change it. But it seems like with this headset, you have to switch the profile or the EQ settings or all types of different things between each game, and it's a good thing, and I feel like they did this on purpose. The fact that they have individual settings that you can set. Now you can set it to auto, or you can set it to change the listening profile based on the game that you play, and that's pretty much what I have to do now. And I still don't find myself fully able to enjoy it on the game that I play 90% of the time, which is Apex Legends. I'm gonna go ahead and say, in my personal opinion, if you're an Apex Legends player like me, like I put 99% of the hours that I put into video games, I put into Apex Legends, and that's been the same for like the last 2 years. This headset's definitely not gonna be for you. I haven't found a comfortable setting for Apex Legends that lets me listen to the sound. This sounds really good. It just 9 times out of 10, I'm either getting something that's blowing my eardrums out, or I'm getting too much bass response, which is cutting out all of the footsteps and reloading, and I can't really hear. The directional audio isn't really that good. But then I hop over and I play Call of Duty, and it's a completely different story. Everything sounds perfect. The volume is really nice, even maxed out. And that's one thing about this headset that I really noticed once I put them on. These headphones get extremely loud, which is a good thing in my opinion, because I would love to be able to, have that option if I did want to turn it up versus, max volume not being loud enough. These have plenty of extra and they sound amazing. Now, moving over from games, if you're a person that likes to listen to music a lot of the time, sometimes maybe when you're playing single player games or something like that, these headphones are perfect for music. They sound absolutely amazing for music. Now, sometimes the bass is a little bit muddy, depending on what song you're listening to. But because of all those settings that I mentioned earlier, it definitely does a really good job. No matter what you listen to, you can always tweak something just a little bit to make it sound exactly the way you want it to. And I know that that's really nice and all, but in my personal opinion, I do not like the fact that I'm glad they included all these settings, but I don't like the fact that I have to use these settings to be able to use these headphones. Now, saying that, I want to say that if you plan on using these on console, I would not buy them in my personal opinion for console, just because without those extra EQ settings and the ability to tweak the spatial audio and all of that, I don't really think they're good for a console where you can't change any of those settings. That would be absolutely terrible if I bought these and I was playing something like Apex and I couldn't adjust what I was hearing. But I would have to say overall for the sound quality, if you're willing and you actually like to adjust settings to get everything just the way you like it, these sound absolutely amazing and definitely better than a lot of the headphones that I've had in this price range. I bought these for about $159, and I'll have them linked down below if you want to check them out. But they sound absolutely amazing, but you do have to know when you're going in that there is going to be some adjustments that need to be made on your end. So the next thing I wanted to move on to was the comfort and the build. So initially when I pulled these out of the box, I was afraid that they were going to be hot and heavy. Those were the two things I was thinking when I was looking at this headset. It is built very, very well. The plastic on the sides has this cool, really cool feeling touch that makes it feel almost metallic. And they're built so solidly that you can feel that they're being made with premium quality material. Pretty much all of the plastic that's on it is the same plastic that's on the side. And on the top, you've got this leather stitched padding across the top. And right below that, on the little headrest, you've got some cloth material that's very breathable and has like a memory foamish material. And it feels really good. And it's the same material that's on the ear cups. And when I put this headset on, I realized that despite how it feels in your hands, it feels like something that was built very well, but it feels like something that would be heavy. But once you put it on your head, there's absolutely like no weight at all. I would have to rate these in like the top 3 most comfortable headsets that I have worn for gaming. And overall, I feel like you wouldn't have any problems at all wearing this headset for hours on end. I think the max that I've worn them is probably about 5 or 6 hours and no issues at all. No heating, no uncomfortableness, no pinching or anything like that on the back of your head. You can't really feel too much like clamping force. I would say though that the way that you adjust these is super weird. So they have these like metal bars on the sides, and it seems like it'll be hard to do at first or like uncomfortable, but it's really easy. I pretty much just grab it from the sides like this, and I just yank them down, push them up, yank them down, and you can pretty much easily adjust. I feel like despite the look of it and the fact that it's different, it adjusts better than 90% of the other like plastic clicky little extension rails that you have on most headsets these days. Now, one thing I will say though is that these side rails do seem a little bit flimsy, and I feel like if I bend them, they would break pretty easy. They feel like a wire hanger, so just keep that in mind. Normally though, if they're just on your head, I don't think there'd be any issues at all. But talking about wearing these for hours on end, the next thing I want to talk about is the battery life. So most things are saying that the battery life is about 24 hours, and I would say that that's about accurate. When I got these headphones, they were fully charged basically, and I pretty much used them for about 3 or 4 days and I still have not had to charge them. So that's just a testament to how good the battery life is. 24 hours doesn't seem like a lot, but once you kind of equate how much time you actually spend with them turned on, and the fact that Synapse has a setting to where you can set a time that you want them to go to sleep after a certain amount of seconds that the headset has been inactive. So I have to say that the battery life is definitely pretty good, but it's most definitely not the best battery life on the market, especially compared to my main headset that I wear right now, which is the GSP 370s. They have a 100-hour battery life, and that's really long. But you know, even like the JBL Quantum 800s I had before this that had about 30 plus hours. So not the best on the market, but definitely usable. I would say one of the things that annoys me a little bit is the fact that these are newer than a lot of the headphones that I've reviewed in the past, and they still use micro USB. I absolutely cannot stand micro USB, but there are more important things than the actual port that you use to plug these in. Now, we'll say that the battery life, most people are saying that they're getting about 3 hours to fully charge. I am not having to take that long to charge this headset at all. I'm thinking about 3 hours if you actually plug it into your PC and use that USB port, which comes at a lower power. I usually use one of my like 15-watt charging bricks, and I'll plug it in directly into the wall, and it takes me about half of that time, maybe like an hour 30, hour 45 minutes. But as long as you're plugging it into the wall, I don't see an issue with charging it. Or if you're just gonna go to sleep and plug it up, you could really still plug it into your computer. That's not really a big issue when it comes to something like a gaming headset, considering you won't be using it for 24 full hours. And if you are, you can just leave it plugged in and it'll charge while you play the game. So now that I've talked about the sound, the build quality, the comfort, and the battery life, I just kind of want to take this time to talk about one, the application that you use, which is Synapse 3, which I already have my own problems with all of my other Razer accessories. And two, just issues I've had so far with just using this headset in general. So let's go ahead and go into the app. So once you go into the app, the first thing you want to do is either click on the headset or click on audio. And then once you get into audio, it seems simple enough. You've got volume, and then you've got this little thing that if you want to turn the volume off, which I don't really understand why you can turn the volume off instead of just a mute button or something. It just seems a little weird to me. But on to the next thing. You go into mixer. You've got most of this is for the spatial sound, the THX spatial audio, which pretty much is like 7.1 surround, just a different type of surround sound that's specific to Razer. Now, you can set this to game mode, movie mode, music mode, custom mode. First of all, that doesn't give you any type of... None of these options for me personally have worked, simply because I want something that's just like a treble boost or a esports mode. Most other headphone makers have something like that within the gaming headset software. Once you go into, on this left side, you've got THX spatial audio. You've got manual mode, which lets you change based on either the music type or the program type. You got video applications, music applications, and other applications. And then you've got the actual applications themselves, all of the games and programs. And there's one different one in here, which is THX environmental mode. And then, like, on some of these FPS games, you've got competitive mode, which puts it in a sort of a high trouble esports mode, like I said earlier, but it sounds absolutely terrible. So that didn't really work for me. I pretty much just left it on game mode and adjust the EQ, which we're going to go into now. If you go over to enhancement, you can actually adjust the EQ itself. And it has a ton of stuff: bass boost, sound normalizer, which sound normalizer pretty much for me just increases the volume by a lot. Voice clarity, I don't really like that at all. I feel like you would use that if you were like listening to a podcast or something. But you've got all of these options and the ability to adjust this EQ by itself. Then you've got mic settings. You've got a mic EQ that comes with presets like mic boost, broadcast, conference, custom. And then you've got mic volume, voice gate. And if you don't know what a voice gate is, it basically kind of blocks out all of the background noise when nobody's saying anything. It'll pretty much kind of just noise reduction when that happens. And then you've also got voice normalization, vocal clarity, ambient noise reduction. And then last but not least, you've got the power saving mode, which turns off, which pretty much turns off the headset after a specified amount of minutes that you want to set. So you've got 15 to 60 minutes. Now, since I've kind of gone through that app with you, I want to let you know a few things. First of all, Synapse has never been perfect. I've used it for years. I've used Synapse for years, and I've always had problems with Synapse not working, or something not connecting, or the chroma not working, so the colors are all over the place on your different devices. And I was hoping so much. And this is coming from a guy, like, I have all Razer accessories. I have a Razer mousepad, a Razer Huntsman Mini keyboard, and then I have a Tartarus Pro, and I also have a Orb Weaver over there that are all Razer products. And I was hoping with all my heart that I would have no issues at all when it came to actually using this product. And everything was going so smoothly until I got off the game for a few hours and then got back on, and I could not hear anything. The volume was turned all the way up on my computer, within the app, within the settings, and on the headset itself. And the volume was so low to the point where you could not hear anything. So I started with actually closing the apps, the Chroma app, the Razer Central app, the Razer Synapse app, and I closed them all. That did not fix the issue. I went into the settings, changed every single setting you could think of: EQ, volume. I switched from the V2, the stereo sound, back to the spatial sound. I did that. I also closed out the program and task manager, opened it back up. Still didn't work. The only thing that worked was me actually restarting my computer. And I'm not sure why this is an issue, but I went online and I saw Reddit threads that people were having the same issue. Some with this headset specifically, and others just with other Razer products. So I'm gonna say that that boils down to pretty much the app is the problem and not the headset. So I would really like Razer to do something about that. Like I said, I've had issues with their app in the past where it's just not setting up properly and things just aren't working how they should. And that was pretty much the only issue that I had with this headset. Everything else pretty much worked perfectly. The sound is absolutely amazing, except Apex Legends. Although the sound is really good, the positional audio on Apex Legends is absolutely horrendous. But everything else seemed to work just exactly how I wanted it once I went through the settings and played with them for a little bit. And you may spend maybe like your first 3 or 4 games that you play with any game when you first get this headset, just setting up the headset. And if you have no problems with that, it really won't be an issue at all. But for me personally, I like something just a little bit simpler, like the headset I use now. I pretty much just hit 7.1 surround, and then I go and hit the esports high treble mode, and I'm pretty much good to go. It sounds absolutely amazing, and the audio is always on point no matter what game I switch to. And so the last thing I want to do is a mic test, just so you can get an idea of what the mic's going to sound like. Now, it says it's a super cardioid mic, and the reviews for it so far have been really good. In my personal opinion, nobody has said it sounded bad. Everybody says it sounds really good, and you have all of those options, pretty much more options than any other headset besides Razer headsets, to adjust how this mic sounds. And I'm gonna let you guys get a listen to it just so you can hear and judge, and let me know in the comment sections down below if you think it sounds good or bad. Alrighty guys, so this is a mic test with the Razer Black Shark V2 Pro wireless. That's a really long name. And I want you guys to let me know in the comment section down below if you think it sounds good, if you think it sounds bad. But I pretty much use this as a way to measure pretty much how you're going to sound in party chat or game chat or on Discord. And so far, I think it sounds really good, but you guys let me know what you think. Alrighty guys, and that is the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like down below. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have any questions you want to ask, I'll get to them as soon as I can. Go ahead and comment those down below. Thank you so much for watching. Take it easy.